Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for July through September. This is for quarter 3 of 2024. You have the starfish, it says open to infinite possibilities. You have this vulture, it says nothing is wasted. So, we are in a time of infinite possibilities. We just have to believe that we can accomplish. And here you go. You have the card of infinite possibilities right here, the Seven of Cups. So we have to believe that we can, manifest something here on Earth or bring something down to Earth. And now is the time. We have Neptune going retrograde, and this is a great time to take those dreamy Neptune ideas and make them, bring them into reality. So I think it would be a great time for you to do that. You have the Five of Swords, the Judgment card, and the Seven of Cups. I feel like some of you are like taking a risk to walk away from something. We even go from Five of Swords to the Six of Swords. This could be anything. It could be like taking the risk to leave your job and go get something new. Taking the risk to just walk away from something that's established in your life. And like I said, it could be anything. And you end with the Three of Wands in that top row. The Three of Wands is a card of expansion, growth, and being open to infinite possibilities. So I'm wondering if the Five of Swords is really talking about you kind of walking away from a limiting situation or walking away from something that you have outgrown. Like I get more of this energy of outgrowing something. The Five of Swords, this guy here at the front is the winner. The Five of Swords can be a card of heartbreak or sadness or separation. And we do go down to the Three of Swords, like right here to the Three of Swords. But you have these cards of expansion and kind of like changing in your last row. Three of Wands, expansion. The Magician is reinvention. And the Temperance card is like alchemy, turning one situation into another, turning it into something better. So I kind of feel more that you have like outgrown something in your life. I feel like you already know this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. I feel like you already know that there is more for you in life, or that a situation, you've learned everything you can. And now you're ready to be reborn into something new. These people on the Judgment cards, I always say they're standing in the coffins. The coffin represents their old life, and outside the coffin represents their new life, and they are being called to step into a new life. And the whole entire reading seems to be really talking about this. And, again, as I said, everyone, I think that it's an amazing time to exceed your own expectations. We have a really good astrological setup to do more than you thought possible. Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces. It's kind of like Neptune is the impossible dream, and Saturn says, well, if you do the work, sure, you can have it. So, I encourage everyone to push it at this time as far as their dreams are concerned, or, even if you just want to improve your life in some way, now is the time to really put in the work to do that. And again, I feel like you are probably dreaming of things. You probably already have dreams or of things that you could change or improve upon in your life. Like I said, we've had Neptune and Pisces for a long time. But now that it's going retrograde at the end of Pisces, now is the time to really put in the work, because that retrograde energy is actually pretty good for, manifesting those dreams on Earth, or, kind of bringing some reality to the situation. I always say that Neptune is like the total opposite of reality. So, when we have Neptune in Pisces, especially because it's in Pisces, the dreamiest sign, then, it's like reality is kind of blurry and not very clear. But now that it's going retrograde, again, it's much more clear. We can see, we can come up with practical ideas or plans on how we can accomplish improvements in our lives or whatever. And I feel like that's what this first row is talking about. And with the Five of Swords, you have the Emperor. Yeah, it's like you're taking control back in your life here. I feel like some of you could be taking control through walking away from something, because you know it isn't right, or because you've outgrown a situation. And again, that's a great way to take control. It's like when you no longer are willing to accept a situation in your life that's kind of quote unquote below you, and you say, no, I'm going to look for something better, or I'm going to go make something better, then that's where you really gain control. With the Judgment card, you have the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups could be love, if you want love. Not really a love reading yet. It could be, but we'll see what comes up. And the Two of Cups could be love, but the Two of Cups is you and your higher self. And even right here, this is the Staff of Hermes, which represents communication. And so this card I always see as a card of you communicating with your higher self, or you communicating, with your inner self, or whatever you want to call it. And so you could be getting signs, symbols, synchronicities, things like that you should be paying attention to at this time. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is fortune after difficulty, good things, creating heaven on earth, basically, and putting the work in to do that. Those cups exist above those people's heads. I feel like you get the Ten of Cups a lot. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure in almost every single reading I do for you, Libra, that you get the Ten of Cups. And it's a good card, like, don't get me wrong. But again, I think those cups, it's like you need to ground those cups in reality. You need to bring those cups down to earth. The story of the Ten of Cups is that they are kind of like choosing to be happy. They are standing in the real world. They still have to deal with all the real world problems, issues, and challenges, but they're choosing happiness by focusing on those 10 cups. But again, you always get this card with me, and I feel like there's something about you needing to create like a little bit of heaven on earth, or to do something that could potentially, bring, some sort of like heaven down to earth. This could be through you, creating something, becoming an example. There's a million different things you could do. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this change in the wind card. We see a lot of change cards, especially in that last row. You have this time for a nap card as well. We'll also have Mercury going retrograde right at the beginning of August. So, I think for a lot of you, during Mercury retrograde, I think it's a great time to take a nap, to rest, relax, recover, to sleep in. I slept in today. I'm starting my reading super late. You're my first reading today at 8 o'clock. Normally, I am done before 8 o'clock. So I would listen to your body. If you need more sleep, get more sleep like I did today. If you need more rest, get more rest. And, because you're going through these changes, there are changes happening. We see a big change right here, Six of Swords. These people in this boat, they're moving on to calmer shores, but they're still going on a journey. They still have to, they're going through the choppy waters. And I feel like you've been through choppy waters. It does look to me like things are actually getting better. You have a lot of cards here that would represent improvements already. 10 of Cups, 2 of Cups even, Judgment, 3 of Wands. Really good cards that are kind of suggesting you getting out of choppy waters. But I feel like you've been through choppy waters, and that could be why the reading is saying that you need to do things to, rest, relax, recover, take care of yourself, all that other good stuff. You have the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is bold, assertive, really goes for what she wants. She also follows her bliss, She has this sunflower right here, and the sunflower points towards the sun. And that is usually the direction that she chooses to move in. And not only that, you also have the Queen of Cups right here. And these two, I feel, are both very heart-based. The Queen of Cups is the card of following your heart, but the Queen of Wands is very similar. She, follows her bliss. She follows the sunflower, but she, which is kind of very similar to following your heart. The things that the Queen of Wands moves towards are still very heart-based. So I feel for a lot of you that your heart will not steer you wrong. I think maybe part of the challenge for Libra right now is reality. That's what the first row is saying. It's like there is a reality. We do live in this 3D reality, right, where we have to pay bills and stuff like that. So, it's like your heart is telling you one thing, but it's also like you have to make rent, right? And I feel kind of this is saying that is very true. There are still very real world things that you have to take care of, but it's like, how can you weave in a little bit of this, more magical, mystical, dreamlike energy into your life, and maybe start taking even just small steps towards whatever your 10 of Cups is, whatever you feel heaven on earth is, even if it's just like a tiny little thing. You have the King of Swords. I feel like this is reality. The King of Swords is very, stern, and he follows the rules. He's very much kind of in the real world. He's a card of knowledge and wisdom. And so I feel like you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. You've probably gained a lot of knowledge and wisdom over the past, many years, and you've learned a lot. And he is kind of just sitting here, and I feel that you have like a lot of clarity on your life now, but I also feel that he needs more like fun, more magical energy. Maybe you need to start believing in magical opportunities, or maybe you need to start believing that things can kind of happen for you in a more, it's like things don't have to follow a logical process, right? And so it's almost like there's a little bit too much logic in the first half, at least, of of this reading here. So let's see what the hell I'm talking about, right? With the Six of Swords, you have the Four of Swords. Yeah, resting, relaxing, recovering. That's where the blessings will come in. If you're thinking like, oh, I have to work my butt off to be able to pay rent and all this other stuff, I feel like you're almost making things harder on yourself. This person here is blessing this person in this stained glass window, and he is kind of like praying for blessings, and I feel that there could be blessings coming in for you, but I think that it's like I almost get like a little bit of a forceful energy. So I feel like if you're in that energy of like forcing things to happen, then that never works. I've tried it for many years of my life, right? But I think if you're getting into that state of allowing, then things will happen a lot faster. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Nine of Cups, which is, again, moving towards your heart, basically. The Nine of Cups really, it's a card of wishes and all that stuff that people say, but really it's a card of being in the energy, like being the thing that you want to be, or, kind of being in the Ten of Cups energy, even if you don't have it. And so how do you do that, right? And I think the easiest way to do that with the Nine of Cups is to adopt the habits of what you want. So if you want love, there are certain things that you would do if you are in love. And so I would just go do those things, even if you're not in love. You can also go love a dog or a cat or nature, right? And so the Nine of Cups asks us to just be in the energy for a little bit longer of the things that we want than we normally are. Because most of us, it's like we want love, so what are we thinking about? We don't have love. Or if we want money, what are we thinking about? That we don't have money. So we're not in the energy of abundance or of having the thing that we want. So this says, can you set apart, 10 seconds, 20 seconds each day every once in a while where you just sit there and you really kind of like soak up the energy. Maybe you watch something on YouTube that makes you feel abundant or makes you feel love or whatever. And I think if you just, kind of invited those things into your life a little bit more, things would probably get better faster. Here you go. With the King of Swords, you have the High Priestess, believing that all things are possible, right? She has no roof over her head. The High Priestess, she's really the card of potential. A lot of people read her as intuition and, mysteries and secrets, which is also true. But she is really the card kind of hidden potential or something that has unlimited potential. The only thing that is stopping her is her belief about what she can accomplish. So it's definitely time for you to kind of go try to accomplish something hard or something that is part of your dream. And that's what I would do here. If you have Aries in your chart, by the way, I would watch the Aries reading. Aries had something very similar. You have this Mantis card. It says fearlessness, flexibility, and battle. You have this Gecko. It says longevity, agility, and cunning. So I feel that Queen of Wands is fearless. Queen of Wands is the only Wands court card that does not have salamanders, or even though this is a gecko, she's the only one that does not have a lizard on her card. And so what it represents is the fact that she has no protection from fire, and she has to do things without knowing whether, basically it represents no protection from risk. So she has to take a risk. Five of Swords is my card of taking a risk in the tarot, and she has to take a risk that, maybe where things don't work out for her, but she has to do it anyway. I feel like the Gecko, the longevity thing, is saying that you are about to, I feel like you are creating more things in your life that have longevity, whether it's love or business or career. It's like maybe you're used to changing a lot. We see a lot of change cards at the end. So I feel like you are used to always changing, but it seems to me like maybe you're building something that is going to last for a longer period of time. You have the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, again, is about following your heart and your intuition. So we do see a lot of intuition here with the High Priestess. So I would definitely trust your intuition at this time. The only thing I'm really getting here is trusting your heart. You have the Seven of Swords. This card here said cunning as well. The Seven of Swords is the card of cunning, the cunning and stealth, right? And the Seven of Swords, he is stealing those swords from this army in the background. Sure, it could represent lying, cheating, stealing. I really feel like this reading is an all about you, Libra. I think it's an all about Libra reading. I don't really feel this is necessarily talking about other people. So I feel this is talking about you looking for better ways to do things. The other thing is he has these polka dots on his cloak, and the polka dots in the tarot represent taking things too seriously. Your bottom card on this deck is the Seven of Swords, by the way. I just noticed. So, again, sometimes I feel that the polka dots can say we're taking things too seriously in life. We need to be more playful. We need to be open to magical things happening. We need to be open to the sign symbols, synchronicities, and not be too, too logical, right? Not that you shouldn't be logical. I think we should mix the two together. You have the Three of Swords. Three of Swords can represent a separation or walking away from something or heartbreak. Really, I think it's just a good time for healing. I'm pretty sure almost everyone has had this card during this set of readings. And we have the Mercury retrograde. We have a bunch of retrogrades at the end of the year here. Neptune, Saturn, also Mars will be going retrograde at the end of the year. So every 2 years or so, we have these heavy retrograde years. And I think that they are great years for healing, resting, relaxing, recovering, all that other good stuff. That's what I would do as during this time. So let's see what is going on. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Magician. The funny thing is that the Magician, if I put him the normal way, he would be pointing towards the Magician. The Magician is a card of reinvention. And again, I think that you are becoming more heart-based. Like you are focusing more on what your heart is telling you to do. And that could be the transformation that you are going through, or that could be how you are reinventing yourself. You are, kind of expanding towards heart-based things. And it seems to me like you are becoming less like 3D. And the funny thing is like, I'm not one of those spiritual people where like, everybody talks about 5D and everything like that. But like, as far as I'm concerned, we are here to have a 3D experience. So I don't think I think some spiritual people are too 5D. Like, I don't think we should necessarily be thinking like 5D and all that other stuff. We're here to have last time I checked, 3D experience. My hand is pretty 3D. So, I think that's why we're here. We spend plenty of time in the 5D. And so, but what I would say is I do feel like this reading is saying that all your opportunities are going to be through, following your intuition and, believing in the impossible, believing that you can accomplish a lot more. With the Seven of Swords, you have a star. Yeah, I mean, if you went through a heartbreak or, a lying, cheating, stealing situation, this would be the healing. The star comes up after the tower usually, and so the star can represent healing from a tower moment. I definitely feel that with this, and also that Five of Swords showing up here. Also, the Judgment card can sometimes come up like when we are maybe healing from something or moving past something. So it does look like healing. The star is also having a North Star, having a big goal, wish, or dream that you go and accomplish. So I feel it's a great time to do that. With the Three of Swords, you have the Three of Cups. I feel like you're maybe getting out there, socializing more, being around people who matter to you more. And again, maybe that's something that you haven't been doing and now you are. So, this looks pretty good to me. I think it would be a great time for you to embrace your community, spend time with people who matter to you, all that other good stuff. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this happiness card. There you go. It says, things are going well and feeling fulfilled. Go after your dreams. The universe is giving you a big yes. Are you kidding? There you go. You have this beginnings card. It says something new is emerging or a new source of income. Embrace the power of newness and make room for new possibilities. Everything we said in this reading. So definitely, I feel it's time to work towards a dream. Again, very similar to Aries reading. And actually, I'm wondering, I think I'm thinking of the last weekly reading. So the set that I did before this set, if you have Aries in your chart, I would go watch that reading. Very similar to what we're talking about here. And, there could be some good advice in there for you. But what I would say is that definitely time for you to go towards a dream or big wish, goal, whatever. You even have the Three of Wands. Three of Wands kind of says that you have your eye on something. Three of Wands is a card of expansion, but the Three of Wands, he's looking out at this water, and the story of the Three of Wands is that water is golden in color, so he thinks he's looking at the desert, and he thinks that there's nothing for him to do. He thinks that he has reached his limit, but when he looks closer, he realizes it's not the desert, it's water, and there are ships on that water, so he could go on an adventure. And I definitely feel there's a new beginning, or you are kind of getting this big yes to go for something expansive in your life. Same thing with the Magician. The Magician is about manifesting, and I feel now is an amazing time for you to manifest. I always pull the card the Magician is pointing to, and when he shows up at the end, which is this one right here, and you have this Loyal Hearts card. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a person who's going to be loyal to you. I kind of feel this whole reading, though, is talking about your heart and things that you can be loyal to. Again, we have that card that says longevity on it, and I feel that your heart is leading you towards things like businesses, careers, whatever it is that you do in your life that are going to last. You have the Temperance card, and Temperance is patience, but it's also kind of turning one thing into another. It's a card of alchemy, so I feel a lot of you could be just improving your situation. Sometimes I feel the Temperance card says you can turn a negative into a positive or a positive into a negative. With the Three of Wands, you have the Lovers. Definitely could be love if you want it. This could also just be you having a choice. The Lovers was traditionally a card of having a choice to make, and I always say with the Lovers, the new path is always the best path with the Lovers card, so doing new things is a good idea. With the Magician and the Loyal Hearts card, you have the Six of Swords again, so moving on to calmer shores. Definitely, we see a lot of improvement here, Star. The Six of Swords twice, so again, I think you're heading straight towards big improvements. And with the Temperance card, you have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, no hard work, right? That doesn't mean you can't work hard if you find something that works well. But your first thought should not be hard work, especially if you're thinking about building something. I believe we're in a time of efficiency. So I would be looking, instead of thinking like, how can I work harder? I would say, how can I do what I want to do in the most efficient way possible? You have this escape card, so I do feel like you are kind of getting out of a situation. Some of you might be seeing, it's almost like, not really a blessing in disguise, so I don't really want to say that, but, it's almost like you're seeing how something not working out in your past was a blessing in disguise, because it probably would have prevented you from having the Ten of Cups. You have this publicity card. I think it's an amazing time for Libra in particular to get as much attention as they can. You have the Star. You also have this card here, but also other things going on for you. You have the Starfish as well showing up here. So if you do something like in the public eye, or if you want to do something in the public eye, really good. You have this indecision card. I feel like you're being guided. There's this angel right here. And I feel like your higher self, Six of Swords, the guy in the back of the boat, is a guide. So your guides are trying to guide you towards success or towards making a decision. So I would listen. You have this Romance card. Yeah, like I said, a little bit of love here if you want it. So definitely could be a romantic situation coming in for you. And finally, you have this Rebellion card. I just feel you are doing things. I've said this to you before as well, Libra. I think that Libra is definitely one of the signs where you could be doing things that go against other people's beliefs for you. But again, 3D, these are like 3D ideas that people have for your life. Queen of Wands, she does her own thing. She doesn't care what anyone thinks about what she is doing. She does it because she desires to do something different, and she's not afraid to be different either. And I feel this reading is saying that. It's like saying, don't be afraid to be different. But this looks really good. Big yes from the universe, according to this last card here. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.